Good morning, everybody. It's your boy Carl. So, as I talked about in my last video, the first video about my Sublocade experience, I mentioned how I got approved by the insurance company, things of that nature, the fact that I had to taper up my Suboxone to get to the dose I needed, things of that nature. And then I said that, I was going to basically talk about my experiences from shot 1 through 4, and that I had to recreate them because I had already done these videos and they got deleted. Well, you know what? I'm not going to recreate them. It doesn't make any sense because that content was actually kind of boring. I think what people really want to see is what happened with the first shot, and then what happened, as I finally got to taper off, and if I had any, withdrawal symptoms, things of that nature. I know that's what I wanted to know when I was watching another influencer that was sharing about this, so that's what I'm going to do. So anyways, will be video number 2. And as I mentioned in my first video, I got the Suboxone approved by my insurance company. I went through the whole process with my doctor. I was on a low dose of Suboxone, so I had to taper up to at least 8 milligrams to be eligible for Sublocade, because that is a minimum dose you have to be on to be eligible for Sublocade because of the way the doses that Sublocade comes. So I did that, and we scheduled a time. I had labs done ahead of time to make sure my CBC, my complete blood cell count, my liver functions were all good to go, and we finally set up the date for the first injection. So about a day before the injection was supposed to be scheduled, or the day I was supposed to schedule to get the injection, the doctor's office that was going to be doing it called me up just to make sure that I was going to be coming in because they didn't want this $3,000 injection, sitting on their shelves. So, because what would happen is the specialty pharmacy that has them will have it delivered to the office like the day of or the day before, just so they have it ready for the doctor when he wants to inject it or she wants to inject it. So I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll be there. And I showed up that day. When I first got there, the first thing I had to do was get a tox screen just to make sure that there were no other substances in my system, which obviously there were not because, I've been doing very well and I've never relapsed or anything like that in all the time that I've been on my Suboxone therapy. They wanted to make sure there was Suboxone in my system, so I had been taking it. And that was all went well. And then we did some vitals. So doctor just checked my blood pressure, heart rate, things of that nature, pulse ox. All was good, although my blood pressure was a little high, but that was probably just because I was a little nervous. So we went into the examination room. Doctor laid me down, gave me an ice pack, said put this on your abdomen and hold it on there until the ice pack doesn't feel cold anymore. So meaning the area was probably numb at that point. In the meantime, she was preparing the dose. Decent sized needle, so I wouldn't say it was like a insulin syringe, definitely much bigger because the Sublocade solution is very thick. It's a viscous fluid. So you need a bigger gauge needle, even though you're only injecting it subcutaneously, and you need a bigger gauge needle for that thick liquid to go through. So after about 5 to 10 minutes and her prepping that and me numbing up the abdominal area, she asked if I was ready to go, and I said, yeah, let's do it. She had me lay down on my back and bring my knees kind of up a little bit to my chest, so that way, when she was going to pinch a little area of my abdomen, there was enough fat there or whatever, which, I'm not that skinny, so that wasn't really a problem. She said she was going to pinch it really hard, so that way, I wouldn't actually feel the needle. I would just feel her pinching, which was kind of a good method because she pinched the shit out of me, and it really did hurt when she pinched, and I didn't really feel the needle going in or the medicine going in, which is actually kind of a little painful too. But it wasn't bad. I mean, she had me ask, afterwards, she asked me on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, what was the pain, and I only gave it like a 2 because it really wasn't that bad. And I told her that her pinching me actually hurt more, and it did. And afterwards, it really wasn't that bad, but you did feel like a lump underneath your skin. It was tender to the touch. It was a little sore. But outside of that, you didn't really feel anything else. And, you know, the pain that you felt from the medication going in, you know, subsided as soon as she was done. It wasn't like a lingering pain or anything like that. And it wasn't anything substantial, nothing that any of us, especially if we're, you know, abusing substances and injecting them into ourselves, whether it be subcutaneously, intravenously, whatever, you know, this isn't anything that you can't handle, believe me. So yeah, so they did that. She had me hang around for a little bit, just to make sure I didn't have any adverse reactions to it, which I did not. And didn't feel like sedated or anything like that, overly sedated. I didn't feel like that kind of like bump that you feel when you take Suboxone, like especially if you hadn't taken it like in time. Like, you know, if you take your Suboxone every day at 12 p.m. and then you didn't take it until 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. because you forgot it or you got busy, you know, you might start to feel a little crappy towards the end of that, you know, period without it. And when you take it, you actually feel, you know, good again. Didn't notice that. I just felt normal. You know, I just felt like I did before I ever started abusing drugs. I just felt like a normal person, which was really good. It was like the first time I actually felt like that, because even with the Suboxone, I feel like I had peaks and troughs all the time, you know. I still felt like there was times of the day where I felt crappy because I needed my next dose. Or I felt like I just took my medicine and I kind of felt like a little euphoria, kind of like you would when you took your opiate dose, you know, when you're abusing opiates. So I don't know. It was really interesting because it was like a constant normalcy in mood and, you know, feeling. So we scheduled my next appointment, which was going to be 4 weeks later, same time, same place. She told me that I had to get labs done a week before my next dose. So 3 weeks from that day, I just got the injection. I need to get some labs done. They were again going to do just a CBC and a liver function test just to make sure. The liver function test is the most important thing, because that sometimes this medication could affect your liver enzymes and things of that nature. So definitely have to get that checked out. And yeah, I did, you know, for my subsequent doses, and everything was great. You know, I did this basically another 3 times. So the first dose was a 300 milligram dose, because that was the plan. I was going to do 300 milligrams the first dose, and then 100 milligrams for 5 doses thereafter. So it was going to be a total of 6 doses, right? 6 months worth. And right now, I'm actually I just did my 4th dose. Yeah, I just did my 4th. No, I'm sorry. I was going to do 5 total doses. So I was going to do 1 injection of the 300 milligrams and then 4 injection of the 100 milligrams. At this point where I am right now, currently, I've done 1 of the 300s, and I've done 1 of the 300s and 3 of the 100s. So I've done 4 shots so far. And my 5th shot, which potentially or will most likely be my final shot, will be next week. Or not next week, the week after. But, you know, so tomorrow I have to go get labs for my following dose. So about another week and a day, you know, before my next shot. And that should be my final shot, unless she said I'm experiencing any withdrawal symptoms, then we want to do 1 more shot. But I haven't been yet. I haven't experienced any withdrawal symptoms. Even when I went from the 300 milligram to the 100 milligram shot, I didn't notice any difference. I really didn't. And even towards, like, you know, you would say towards the end of the month, when the drug is starting to get low, you know, the volume or the amount in your system is starting to should be getting lower, or starting to taper off because the medicine is starting to like dissolve completely. I never felt that. I was still always had enough medication in my system, and I never felt any withdrawal symptoms, which is great. So I don't know. It's been so far it's been a really great journey. It hasn't have had no problems whatsoever. You know, I don't have to worry about taking my dose of Suboxone every day or making sure I brought it with me or forgetting it, because if I forgot it, then I, wouldn't have it with me. And I used to always keep extras on me just in case I ever forgot to take it with me. And I don't have to do that anymore. If I'm going on vacation, I don't have to make sure I bring a whole week's supply, and God forbid I ever forgot it to bring it with me. What would I have done? I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I really won't have to worry about it when I finally taper off of it. So I'm going to keep you guys posted on how that goes, the taper, which, after this next shot, that's it. Finito, or whatever you want to, I don't know. I should be completely done, and I'm excited about it. It has been a long time since Carl's been substance free. And although I fully believe in harm reduction, I still feel like being on Suboxone is not completely sober. It's a crutch. It is trading one substance for another to an extent. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils for sure, but you're still on something, and I still had to worry about, medical procedures and things of that nature, like if I had to get surgery and, how that would counteract, the Suboxone would counteract with, like if I had to get a pain medicine and it was surgery or something like that. So these are all things that I was always thinking about, and I don't want to have to think about anymore. I just want to be like anybody else walking down the street that never had an opiate problem. And I definitely did. I'll never deny that. So this could be huge for a lot of people, and I'm hoping that it's the answer, because I'm really excited about the way this is going so far. So I really hope this is the answer, and if it is, I will be its biggest advocate, and I am at this point. So, but I will follow up with my next video after my last shot, and then talk about that process of tapering off and see how I feel from there. That's going to be the most important, I'm sure, for everybody to want to see. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend. It's a little gloomy out. Good day to get stuff done inside the house, I would say. Grocery shopping, gym, things like that. I'm going to the gym right now. But yeah, take care, everybody.